Chapter 4, Large-Scale Curriculum Development. You might notice during this recording, if you listen carefully, there might be a thunderstorm. There's a thunderstorm outside. I'm not sure if you're going to hear it very much or not. I've tried to get rid of all the other distractions, like my grandchildren downstairs making a lot of noise and notifications from my email, so I close my email. But still, once in a while, some kind of distraction might get in here. The author talks about how standards have only been around for about 50 years in a pretty formal way. Around 1965, they started coming up with standards for schools. There are those who prefer national standards, and of course, in many of the states, they prefer local standards. Our Constitution says nothing about education. They didn't think much about education. They didn't think of education like we do today back then. But they thought that was something that states should handle. So the states still do. The national government gets involved to some degree, but not as much as some would like. So we have a lot of innovation from state to state, and when one state does something right, then other states pretty much tend to copy it. There are a lot of people that get involved in setting standards, a lot of politicians, a lot of special interest groups, teachers as well, parents, industry. There are a lot of forces that come up with our standards. We have standards in the state of Texas for beginning teachers, for technology use in the classroom, for the different content areas that you teach. And so look at those at the TEA website. You can go there and you can see the list of standards for all of those different content areas, especially the one you're working in. If you are teaching elementary school, there are a lot of standards. The standards then get converted into the TEKS or the texts. And with the TEKS, those are laid out, and those were somewhat copied from the other states. But you'll notice that if you compare the TEKS of Texas with the TEKS from almost any other state, they're much more detailed in Texas than they are in other states. We find that they will especially reflect the political orientation of the state when you look in areas such as social studies and science. So they're interesting just to watch to see what's there and what's not there. The author talks about how the standards have changed as we go along, and then you have a discussion of the Common Core. You might have heard of the Common Core in the news, and the state of Texas has rejected the Common Core, saying that their standards that they developed are just fine because they did not sign up for the Common Core. They're not able to compete for some federal funding. But there are a lot of other states that did compete for the federal funding, and they never got any of the federal funding anyway. So read about the Common Core. It's real interesting, especially the math ones. For you math teachers especially, look and see what the Common Core talks about there, the little bit they talk about it in the textbook. Now, how districts improve programs. It talks about every district wants to improve. There are politicians, there are parents, realtors, for instance, want to have a good school program so that people will buy houses in the particular part of the city or in the county or in the state. And so if you have a good school program, you can attract people with more money, and more money means that they buy more expensive houses, and so they are taxed on those houses, and there's more money for the schools. And so one builds on the other. More money, better schools. And so districts are always trying to improve their programs. They either get a higher rating or a better reputation. I know here in Colorado, where I am in the summers, they have very good schools. They're very highly regarded. And I'm really impressed with what my grandchildren are learning and with the teachers they have in the school as well. Doesn't mean they don't have their critics in the area, and the school board is always fighting. They don't have districts in Colorado like they have districts in Texas. Districts in Texas are called independent districts. Independent means that they're not combining with other districts. They have an autonomy all their own. And in Colorado, they have county districts. Denver, the city of Denver, is its own county. And so they have one school district for the county and the city. In Jefferson County, I'm in Arvada, Colorado, And there are probably 20, 30, 40 cities in Jefferson County, where I am, and you would expect maybe 20, 30 different school districts. But no, they have just one school district. They have a county school district. And so from the county, they come up with the curriculum and they do the hiring and so forth. But the principals have a lot to do with the hiring as well. But it's much more centralized than you would find in Texas. But they still have good schools throughout the county. It's a rather wealthy county compared to Denver, and Denver's not doing so bad itself. Comprehensive planning. Go through there and read through this. My hope is that when you finish this program, that you are going to become curriculum leaders. Hopefully some of you are already. For those of you who are in the middle of the program, you're starting your second year of classes, the second round. Generally, it takes 2 full years to go through all the courses in the program. Hopefully by now you have volunteered and been appointed to a curriculum committee to help be a curriculum leader in your school, or maybe even at the district level. So I urge you, those of you who are just starting and those who are in the middle, approach your principal, your vice principal, whoever you're comfortable talking with, and ask them if there are any committees, any planning or curriculum committees that you can be on for the next year. If you're on one already, you might want to add another one if you're not too busy with it and classes. But this is the hope, that we're going to have people who are good curriculum planners helping at the schools. And so hopefully that you can look here and see the models that are presented here and compare those models with how curriculum is being planned at your school. And you can also use this as you talk about curriculum and how to improve your schools in curriculum planning. So the comprehensive planning. And there will be an assignment for this class, for this chapter, with a discussion related to the comprehensive planning. Now, curriculum management plans. The author goes into great detail on how you'd get curriculum management plans in different ways and how you put them together. It's very detailed. It's a little bit boring, but go ahead and take a look at it, read it carefully. Think of yourself as you're reading this as a member, or maybe even the chair of this particular committee, and that you're going to go through and you're going to bring up a lot of these issues. You're going to look for these things, and you're going to direct parents and other teachers and other interested parties in coming up with a management plan for your curriculum or an improvement plan for your curriculum. An interesting chapter, a very valuable chapter, especially as you guys are going to become curriculum leaders in the future. Hopefully some of you will go on to your doctoral degree. Some of you hopefully will go on into administration, because we have too many administrators, I believe, who are more about discipline and budget and politics than they are about curriculum. And we need good curriculum planners for the future and in leadership positions all the way up to the principal and the superintendent. If you have any questions, please give me a call or send me a note.